You're gonna have to hold my hand through this, Davis, because I don't play any Xenos.
Yeah. You don't really, I forget.
I have 0 Xenos armies. I have a kill team of Harlequins.
Really? Is that it?
That is it.
Alright. Well, let's start with Necrons.
Let's start with Necrons, yes, absolutely.
Because I bought 3 Indominus halves for Necrons. I only ever bought 1 full Indominus because I didn't think I was going to play Space Marines at the time when I was buying Indominus. And then I was like, ooh, Space Marines.
Yeah. I think Necrons are in the same spot as Space Marines Command Edition.
And I think pretty much everything we said about Space Marines applies here. Let's go over it again in case they're watching on YouTube. It's just going to be a good deal. You get your Overlord, you get Warriors, you're getting Scarabs, and you're getting Destroyers.
Yep, Scorpek
Destroyers. Which are all units that you're going to use. They're all real nice, real generic. You don't have to worry, am I really going to use these? Those are all stuff you're going to use.
Is this better in blah, 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 you're going to use them.
Maybe the Scorpek Destroyers you won't use as much depending on the dynasty. But they're still really good.
I know one of our Necron players plays Novak, and he's very heavy in the Scorpek Destroyers.
Yep. This plus a Recruit Edition is, again, you're going to round out your Warriors to 20.
So, the funny thing with the Recruit Edition is it's $5 more than the Tyranid Warrior, the Necron
Warrior box.
So you get a Necron Warrior kit in it, plus a
Royal Warden. Yeah, so instead of just buying 10 Warriors, you can spend $5 more. You get a Royal Warden, 5 Assault Intercessors, and a Lieutenant. Which
cut them up for your bases.
Again, either that or find someone who you can sell them to. Find something
if you're going
to do
in with a buddy,
there's no reason not to.
Yeah.
It's just a good deal.
But I'd say if you can find a friend, split a Elite Edition and a Recruit Edition. That'll give you 20 Warriors. If you can, Overlord.
And same thing with Space Marines too. If you can find an Indomitus, recommend it.
Yep.
You're gonna get a lot of cool stuff. You're gonna get a lot of HQs. It's really HQ heavy in the Indomitus for Necrons, but I think it's still a good pickup.
I think so too.
You'll get a lot of stuff. The Canoptic Reanimators. He's very bad.
He is very bad.
He's very bad. He's not good.
As far as expanding on Necrons, I think Wraiths. Wraiths are so good.
Yeah, you like Wraiths?
I've never played a game with Wraiths where I'm like, these didn't do anything. I don't play with Necron. I play against.
I really like Lich Guard.
Lich Guard are good. They're more points than the Wraiths, and I don't think they do as much as the Wraiths.
They're good bodyguards.
Yep. I think 5 Lich Guard, but Wraiths. I've seen people run 3 squads of 6 Wraiths.
Yeah, I know the Canoptic Doomstalker sees a lot of play too.
It's very
which
good.
Is the Reanimator, but instead of doing reanimation shenanigans, he has a big cannon.
Yeah, he does.
We
should also have Necrons up.
Yeah, they don't have a combat patrol, which I find was weird.
Well, Space Marines.
Normal Space Marines don't either, but
Xenos. Of course, Necrons are gonna be like way at the bottom here.
It's okay.
Pride Nexus did come out, which is
rough. If
you're buying Pride Nexus for the flight ones, wait.
Yeah, because they already announced that they're getting their new kit in May. They'll just be able to be bought separately in May.
Also, this is another thing we should touch on. If you buy the Elite Edition plus the Recruit Edition, and then you buy the Necrons Royal Court,
that's everything in Indominus.
That is Indominus.
The Royal Court's such a hard sell for me.
Yeah, absolutely. That is a tough sell.
$110. And really, the only part of it that I can really recommend is the Scorpek Lord. Some people do like the Plasmancers. I'm not a super big fan. So if you like the Plasmancer,
I think if you're running a 3 Amigos or whatever they are,
Crypto Thralls.
No, not Crypto Thralls. I love the Murder Buckets, but Cryptex.
Oh, the Cryptex.
Yeah, Psychomancer, Technomancer, Plasmancer.
And now the Chronomancers.
Yeah, the Chronomancer. So 4 Amigos.
Yeah, 4 boys. It was the 3 Musketeers.
Yeah, the Royal Court's tough, but it's one of those things like you can't get the Scorpion.
And the Reanimator, I'm sorry, the Reanimator is terrible. It's so bad.
Yeah.
It's so bad. It has like a dinky little gun that it shoots at people, and the only other thing it does is boosts reanimation protocols, which doesn't sound that bad.
It did get a buff though.
Did it? I know it went down in points a lot. It's
like
very
30 points.
Yeah, it's very cheap to take. But it's so frail. It just gets shot and dies so often, and it more often than not, because of the buff that it provides, which is like
people
improving,
are like, that needs to die.
Right, and it's not going to. It doesn't have a snowball's chance in hell of surviving.
No.
It is,
especially with you're playing Space Marines, playing against Guard, you're playing against armies like that. It is dead.
It is dead. It's not even gonna like. It's so frail that it can get taken down by bolters. It's not that hard to take it down.
But as far as expanding Necrons, don't buy the Royal Court.
I'm so conflicted because the Scorpic Lord is really good.
Yeah.
He's really good, especially if you're going to run a lot of the Scorpic destroyers.
The Plasmancer isn't bad. The Murder Buckets are good. I don't care what anyone says. The Murder Buckets are good.
The Murder Buckets are funny. I like them.
If you get close to a Cryptic, they turn into blenders.
Never. I would say almost never buy multiples of the Royal. If you're going to buy one...
Not. Absolutely not.
Right. If you're going to buy one, buy one.
Yeah.
And...
honestly, your best bet is...
you'd almost be better off trying to see if somebody was parting out or stuff.
Go on eBay.
See if somebody's...
parting out a Indominus half an Necrons.
Yeah.
If you want the Royal Court stuff.
Yeah. From there, their Codex... you're going to want their Codex. It's brand new. It's really good. Necrons are not a bad army. They're very strong right now.
They're very forgiving.
Yes. This is a very easy army to get into. I can recommend this for new players.
I take it back. This is the best starter army.
Yeah.
It's very easy to paint. It's very easy to play. There's different ways to play it if you want to expand out your force.
It's pretty much as simple as move forward, shoot.
That's pretty much it.
It's
my stuff gets shot, I bring it back.
Right. This one is super beginner friendly. It's not super complex. Once you get into the Codex, they do have a little bit more. There's a little more meat. There's a little more complexity to the army, but it doesn't get much easier than Necrons if you're building it from a beginner's standpoint. No. It's really easy to get started.
Plus, most of their kits right now, except for the name characters, most of the kits are plastic, and pretty much new.
Yeah.
The Lich Guard are about the oldest models they have in there, aside from the characters.
Yep. And they are plastic.
And that's a fine kit to put together.
Yep. Some stuff, so like, their characters, I think a lot of their characters kind of comes down to rule of cool with them. Yep. The best one of these, like, Cryptech models, I think, is the Technomancer, which is, like, what everybody knew as a Cryptech.
Yep.
That's kind of what...
the Chronomancer, I think, is very good.
So...
but you can only get him right now. The X-Mark Destroyer. Ooh. You can only get the Chronomancer in Pariah Nexus right now.
If you're just building them, I think Warriors, Immortals... you can't go wrong, Legion. Right? Just you go with the bog standard Necrons. You can't go too wrong. No. They're not going to let you down. Ophidian Destroyers are one of those things. Where I think this is where some of that complexity can come in, because Ophidian Destroyers, if you're not careful with them, you can get wiped out pretty easily on those guys.
Yeah, and they're a lot of points.
I love the Monolith. I love the Golf Ball. I think it's a trap.
I agree. I think it's a trap every time. It's
so cool. And it got a cool... this is a new kit.
Yep, brand new.
It's brand new. They got rid of the ring pop.
Yep. It's also a trap because GW said this one was bigger. And it is not.
Isn't it? No. I've never seen an old monolith.
No, it is smaller.
It's... and I think it does some shenanigans with, like, it can teleport units with it.
Yep. I do not think that is a beginner model.
No. For sure.
I do not think that is even a next step expansion.
That's like, hey, I'm playing Necrons. I'm in on Necrons. All right, now I can go with that.
Same with the Silent King. I would not buy him until you've got some. got some
He is a
games.
gorgeous model.
Oh, he's super cool, but he apparently is not easy to put together.
I've never put one together. I do want one for my Necrons, but I'm
You'd
kind of
about
on hold.
imagine.
Right? Yeah, and I'm on hold for Necrons and stuff for a while. So
I'm on hold for 40K stuff in general because there's a lot of cool other games coming out right now.
yeah. The Heavy Destroyer. Real meh. Let's
you
just,
drive. I don't know why
yeah,
I'm driving.
let's just view all here because that's just way easier than loading a separate pages.
Yeah.
Oh, the Hexmark Destroyer.
I love him.
I hate him. I think he's so bad.
Every time I've seen someone play him, he just blends a unit.
Really?
Yeah, every time. I've never seen him like show up and just whiff. It always seems like he shows up, does work, and then he dies.
I just feel like I've looked at his data sheet and I look at it and just feel real underwhelmed.
I always think he's just, I don't know. I love him. Basically, he pops up, he shoots his guns,
And then
and
dies.
every time he kills the model, he can shoot a gun.
He gets
again.
another shot, which I mostly don't like it because we see a lot of Marines in our meta, and so like he's really not that good at killing Marine, at least not Imperium Marines. But
I think he's a fun model though.
he's fun. I'll never deny that. He's super fun. I just think I looked at him and I thought he was real underwhelming. However, I have been told that I am wrong, so
Yeah.
I don't run one, so I guess I can't really be at liberty to say I love the Heavy Destroyer with his giant gun.
It's huge. The picture doesn't really do it justice. It's as
Gun's
big
like
as
as
he
big
is.
as he is. Yeah, he holds it with one arm
Yeah.
or two, I guess. He's got the
The
other.
gun is his other arm.
Yeah, right. It's ridiculous.
I don't think that's a beginner one either.
No, not really.
It is push fit, but
Triarch Stalker. That's not a bad place to go either. I know.
it is a little bit of a tough kit to put together.
Didn't they do a battle force for Necrons for this last Christmas?
I don't know if this is Christmas or last Christmas.
If you can find a Necron battle force, I know they did one somewhat recently. I'd recommend picking it up. It was a pretty good deal, if I remember correctly.
Lich Guard, those will also let you build Praetorians. They're pretty good.
They're pretty good. The Catacomb Command Barge, I know I like the Annihilation Barge more.
Yeah.
But this one's not terrible either.
No. It's the same kit.
Then here's a lot of
The
those old
characters.
kits. These are old.
If you flip through the codex and you want to play a certain dynasty, you're probably going to pick up one of these old guys.
Yeah, the main thing I really want to talk about is the Satan.
They're good. They're super good. However,
They are super good. They are ridiculous, especially the Nightbringer. Ridiculous.
The issue-
Absolutely one of their best units.
but there's a huge resounding but in there.
But
those kits are awful.
Yeah. And he's such a tiny boy.
He is so small.
We have one out here. I'm not going to go get it, but he's tiny.
Especially compared to like the Void Dragon.
Yeah. I could recommend the Void Dragon. He's super. I feel like
As
he's
a next step.
Probably not as a next step.
For next step, I'm thinking you want Mortals, you want Necron Warriors.
Yeah. But if you were gonna go to choose like a bigger character, a bigger, more centerpiece type model,
A centerpiece model, I'd say Void Dragon.
Void Dragon's not bad.
Before the Monolith or even the Silent King.
Because the Void Dragon, he's a new kit. He's plastic. He's gonna be way better than like in terms of the game. The Nightbringer, I think, is the best one. But he's just the coolest model. I think he's the coolest model.
And you have a lot of really cool painting opportunities with him.
Yep. And I think he's an easier step for like a new player to be like, all right, I want to go and do like something a little bit bigger. I want to do like a centerpiece model. And I think he's a little bit less daunting than something like the Silent King.
Yeah.
So I think that would be a good first big model to get. Immortals and Death Marks,
Same
kind
kit,
of.
but I recommend the Immortals over the Death Marks, who kind of covered the Command Bar or the Annihilation Barge a little bit.
Yep, and the Praetorians.
Tomb Blade's super good. Do not buy them if you're new to modeling.
Right, because aren't there like tubes, like individual pieces or something ridiculous?
They are awful to put together.
I've never put them together, but I've heard they're awful.
They're terrible to put together.
Yeah. These old destroyers.
They're in stock now. You can buy them.
I just feel like you'd always go with the Locust Heavy Destroyer.
Well,
though.
those are Locust destroyers.
They are, but
What people do is they take two of the regular Locust and I throw a Heavy Destroyer in there, and basically your Heavy Destroyer more wounds.
yeah.
Doomsday Arc, super good.
Yeah, the Doomsday Arc is super good.
I think that is actually your first big model purchase.
Right, that's your first like, oh, I want to get a vehicle. You go with the Doomsday Arc.
Yep.
Wraiths. You said you really like the Wraiths.
I really like the Wraiths. I think they're arguably one of the best units in the game.
Yeah, they're not bad. The Doom Scythe / Night Scythe.
I don't recommend it for new players.
Space Croissant.
It's not. In 7th edition, it was super good. Because it was
Necrons were just super good.
It was interacting with flyers was different.
Yeah. Here's the thing. I feel like a lot of these vehicles we're gonna come down to the same thing of, if you think it's cool, buy it. Like the Doom Scythe and the Night Scythe, they're not necessarily super beginner friendly, but like just kind of like with anything in this hobby, if you think it's cool, buy it.
Yeah.
You're never gonna be disappointed if you are dead set. And you're like, you know what? Even if I tell you, hey, the Doom Scythe, maybe not super beginner friendly, but if you're like, man, the Doom Scythe is really something I like, you're not going to be disappointed.
No, you'll like it.
You'll like it, and you'll figure it out.
There's the monolith again.
There's the monolith again with the golf ball. Ugh. The Tesseract Vault? No.
No.
Oh. Because it's basically they take a Satan shard and they put it in an obelisk.
They put it in a Pokeball.
Yeah, they put it in a Pokeball. And I think it gets, like, powered up Satan powers.
It does.
But it's just so many points.
But that's the only way to get the Transcendent Catan, by the way.
Yeah, which is stupid.
Yeah.
It's dumb. But they also made it so that, like, in 8th edition, people loved having those Transcendent Satan because they could get the Satan powers.
Yep.
The nice other thing that's simple about this army, they don't do anything with the psychic phase.
Nope.
I think they have some stratagems and some, like, I know the spiders can deny, but they don't have any psychers.
Yeah.
Which
Spiders, I'm going to say, unless you're running a lot of Canoptic stuff, which you're probably not if you're just starting out, pass on it.
Yep, the Obelisk, both of these are just real If you want them, buy them. If you're just kind of like, then I wouldn't. I'd pass. Shard of the Void Dragon, like we said, is cool, and the Doomstalker I think is a really good. That's like a decent that is the I think the Doomstalker. That's like, hey, if I'm building out a little small force, this could be my vehicle. That's not a bad purchase.
No. It kind of has the same issue as Reanimator, where it can kind of die pretty quick.
And then Flayed Ones are coming out. Flayed Ones
in May is the rumor.
In May. Well, I think they did announce it on Warhammer Community like today. So
the rumor come out.
So, I think Flayed Ones will be cool if you want to do Flayed Ones. It's really as simple as that.
Especially if you're doing, there's one of the named characters that does a bunch of stuff for Flayed Ones.
Yep. It's just one of those things. If you want a bunch of Flayed Ones, you'll do Flayed Ones.
Yep.
In terms of beginners, I can really just recommend, you do, your bog standard. Your Overlords, your Immortals, your Warriors.
Yep.
I just feel like that's a really good core.
Yep.
That's a really good, you can go to do some other stuff from there. You can expand from there pretty much in any direction that you want to go.
Yeah.
So I think that's pretty much it for Necrons. Grab their codex. It's not part of the app, and you'll want it. That's all I have to say about that.
On to Craft Worlds.
Yep. Craft. Oh.
Craft macaroni and cheese.
Craft World.
I forget how kind of terrible to start collecting.
You think it's terrible? I love it.
I love it. However, a brand new player.
So let's go over let's start with the start collecting.
If you want to play a Yandon, which is like the blue and yellow color scheme, buy this box. However, if you don't want to run a lot of Wraith constructs,
there's not really a reason to buy it.
There's not any reason to buy this. I wish the Wraith Lord was an HQ.
Craft Worlds are kind of in a rough spot right now, too.
They deserve it after 7th.
Yeah. Or even after 8th.
Yeah.
They were ridiculous in 8th as well. They're like a lot of the factions that don't have a codex yet.
Mm-hmm. They're kind of in an awkward spot.
They're in an awkward spot, and they can't really perform compared to Necrons or Space Marines right now. They're Space Elves, and their play style, at least with most of the Craft World stuff it's kind of it's very much a glass cannon too. Yeah. They're not really tanky. The Wraith constructs are a little more that's about as tanky as it gets.
Like a Terminator equivalent.
Yeah, this is like their Terminators, and I think this is a really good box, but again, it's also like, this is not necessarily a good core, like, or a good thing that you would want to start. The Farseer you'd probably use no matter what, but that's like about the only thing in here that I'd be like, any Eldar army is going to want this.
If you're buying this box, you're going heavy Wraith.
Yeah, and that's... The Warwalker is kind of eh.
It is an ugly model.
It's a Warwalker.
Yeah, it is a Warwalker.
The Wraith Lords and the Wraith Constructs, I think, are really just...
Cool.
They're good, and they're super cool. Like, if I was going to build an Eldar army, I would love this, because I would totally want to do, like, all Wraith Constructs.
That's what I would do if I was going to do Eldar, but I don't play any Xenos.
I do.
We don't see a lot of Eldar in our...
We really don't. Like, I don't know any... I think Kelvin has Eldar.
I don't think he's ever played it.
He's played it against me before. But yeah, I think he's the only... There's only like one guy, and he really doesn't even play him, that I know that plays Eldar. Because most of the people that I knew that played Eldar were like competitive players, and they sold it all off now that it's bad.
Yeah.
So they saw a lot of play in 8th edition because they're... Well, and 8th edition too, because of their flyers.
Yeah.
They have these planes that can... They can do a lot of shenanigans with modifiers to the hit roll, and before there wasn't a cap on how bad your shooting could get, and so it was just possible that you would get -5 to hit Eldar flyers. You could not even shoot them. So
for starting out, I say Farseer, maybe a Spirit Seer.
Yep. A Farseer or a Spirit Seer, take your choice. I think they're both Psychers, I'm pretty sure. This is a pretty Psychic heavy army too.
Yeah, it is.
From there, probably Dire Avengers or Guardians.
Yeah, depending on what you want. Guardians kit's a little old.
But they're your good bog standard troops. From there, you kind of have to... It's kind of you specialize.
It's what you want to do.
So like if you want to go more in on like a close combat, you can go with some Howling Banshees and get Jane Czar and kind of go that route. If you want to go more ranged, Dark Reapers.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, if you are going to play this army, this is not a beginner-friendly army.
It is very...
I'm going to come out and say it. There's a lot of resin on both fronts.
Yeah.
A lot of resin. There's so many super old kits in here, which is a shame because they really, like... As much as Eldar kind of get a bad rap of being this super only competitive players play it, nobody really likes the Eldar. I guess, no, Corbin plays Eldar. We forget about that. Yeah, one of the younger players in our group, he plays Eldar, but... you have so many resin kits. You have so much, and it's not an easy army to play either. No. You have to know what you're doing. There's a lot of moving parts that go into it, and it's like it'll punish you pretty hard for mistakes. Because, like I said, a lot of your stuff is frail. It is not going to take a hit, other than like your Wraith Constructs. Those can take a little bit of a beating, but even
there is the Wraith Knight, man.
There's the Wraith Knight. It's a cool model, but...
It's so cool.
It's not as good as Knights.
No. It used to be. It used to slap... It used to take Knights lunch.
Right now, Eldar are in this weird place where it's like in the lore. They're just constantly like, we used to be so good.
Yeah.
And now we're just garbage. They're not garbage. I think calling them garbage is probably a bit much. They're in a rough spot. Hopefully, once they get their codex, that'll smooth out a lot of their issues. It really just comes down to they can't compete with the current things that got a new codex.
That's pretty much exactly what it is. They're in an awkward spot.
They used to be really good at the thing that they did, and now they're not.
They get outclassed.
Yeah, they just get outclassed.
Necrons very much outclass them in shooting.
Psychic,
they're pretty much unmatched. But...
Yep, they're really good at Psychic, so if you want to play with a bunch of wizards, this is a good army to do it. But, yeah, like, look, a lot of these are just old resin kits, and it's going to be an army that, you're going to have to put a lot of time and love into, but they're fun. I want to do an Eldar army one day, but it's just... I really hope they get a line refresh because they desperately need it.
Yeah. I don't recommend buying this codex. I recommend going through the app on this.
Yeah, same here. I mean, we're going to probably say that for everything that doesn't have a 9th edition codex because of Psychic Awakening. You're just better off going through the app until they get their new codex.
Well, especially true with our next army on the list.
Yeah, so Drukhari is the next one.
Yeah. Eldar, they're in a tough place right now.
They are. Eldar are really struggling.
Now Drukhari is 3 armies in one.
Yeah. They are the next army that's set to get their codex, which is good, because they need it.
Because they're in a really awkward spot right now.
They're in a rough spot, because a lot of the... So Dark Eldar are... They take that glass cannon approach and kind of bump it up a notch. They very much play into this is not a tanky army.
Yeah.
You can make them a little tankier if you do the homunculus covens.
Yeah.
But this is a glass cannon army through and through, pretty much. They don't have... The only survivability they have is actually more due to, like, a lot of their stuff has -1 to hit.
Yeah.
That's how they get their survivability, not through being actually tough. They are fun, but like Mike said, they're like 3 armies in one, pretty much.
Because you can play heavy...
so you can do witches, cabals, cabalites, and homunculus covens. The witches are let's see if I can get the witches.
I think the witches are the close combat.
Yes. They are the most close combat of the 3. They're very fast. They're going to come in. They're going to hit hard. And they have a lot of shenanigans with, like... They do stuff with combat drugs so they can get different bonuses and stuff. It's really hard.
One of them has a different close combat weapon.
And because they're getting a codex so soon, it's really hard to give you a super concrete opinion on this. I guess they do have a start collecting we can look at. But again, because they're getting a new codex and they've kind of been in this... GW's been going through with all of the things that are getting a codex.
Yeah.
They're giving them combat patrols, so I don't know how long this is going to be around.
Yeah.
But I'll give you my opinion of it for now. I do actually own Dark Eldar. I have 1,000 points, a real small force of Dark Eldar. I have a lot of fun playing them, but this one, I can only recommend this start collecting if you want to play witches.
Because there's only witches.
There's only witches. You get witches, you get succubus. The succubus is your HQ. The Venoms are really good no matter which ones you want to take. Venoms are really good. And the Reavers are
Yeah.
The jet bike guys.
Fly around and take objectives, that's about it.
Yep, they do the same thing as any bike unit, pretty much. But yeah, I mean, half of this box is taken up with stuff that you're only going to use in witches. So it really comes down to, if you're going to do witches, I think it's a good deal, buy it. If you're not going to do witches, don't bother.
Yeah, and like David said a minute ago, it's tough to tell you what to buy or what's a good start when
the new codex is
coming out, which means likely a new combat patrol.
And who knows? We don't know what the rules in there. They could play completely differently.
Yeah.
The other bad thing about Drukhari, right, is because they have all these different armies, right? They kind of play off the fact that you take multiple detachments to kind of do your specializations. But 9th edition is really an edition that wants you to be having one detachment.
Yeah, as few detachments as possible. As opposed to 8th
where it was other way around. Yeah, they wanted you to have more. So I know they have some rules to make their patrol detachments a bit better. I think they give you some CP, some extra CP for it, so it makes them a little more playable. But they desperately need their codex.
Yeah. Which is coming out soon.
Which is coming out soon. So if you want to get started, I don't think you could probably start buying models. Like if you know, hey, I want to do a Cabal or I want to do a Homunculus Coven, then you could start buying models. Don't buy the codex. Don't buy the codex.
Do not. Because codex comes out.
It's coming out soon. Yeah, if not this month, then next month. But yeah, the witches. Getting back to how each of these play, the witches are very close combat, very fast, not durable at all. They are like paper. They are gonna die, and they're gonna die fast. It's kill or be killed with them. The Cabalites are almost
your gun line.
They're your gun line. They're a little tougher than witches,
but not much.
But not by much. You're gonna be running around with them. They'll hold objectives. They'll shoot at stuff with their splinter rifles. But a lot of their utility comes in like when you get some of these like the Raiders and the Ravagers, you can put some of their heavier weapons on that.
And they're open top and you can shoot out of them.
Yep. And then the Homunculus Coven. If you're gonna build tough, this is where you gotta go.
And it is not good at it.
It's okay at
Homunculus is the one that you can kind of bring Homunculus with the Cabalites and the Witches, right?
Yeah. Most people, from what the list I've seen, they always take Homunculus units, and then they either choose to go Witches or Cabalites.
Because I know the Talos is pretty decent.
Yeah, I like the Talos. I have a Talos. It's pretty decent. It's real... Racks and just Homunculus Covens in general are melee. They're pretty much exclusively melee. And that's most of the army, unless you're going to do a Cabal. You're going to be stuck doing a lot of melee. So if you don't like melee combat, I just wouldn't play Drukhari. And yeah, it's just, the opinion on here is just, it's really complicated because they're getting a codex so soon. I'm not confident that I can give a good recommendation necessarily on certain things while the codex is about to come out.
Oh, I forgot about that thing.
And they have a bunch of these old like resin models, like the Lamians, the Claw Fiend, and the Beastmaster. Like I wouldn't even mess with any of those because just they aren't good now, and I doubt they're gonna be good later.
Yeah, I've never seen anyone actually play with them.
So we'll just make it short. It's the Incubi and Drazar are really cool, but those are like the only new models they've gotten in a while. They desperately need this new codex, but I think so. Moving on, we've got Genestealer Cult.
We have a lot of Xenos to get through.
We do. However, I think each of the Xenos are going to be
shorter than
a little bit shorter than
or Necrons was.
Okay, so Genestealer Cult.
They have to start collecting.
They do. So we'll look at that. We'll look at the start collecting that they have.
I think the start collecting for these guys actually isn't terrible.
Let's see what you get. You get an Icon Bearer, 5 hybrids, which are the
cool rock saw, rock drill
that's
guys.
These guys, and then you get what it looks like 10 of the Neophytes.
If you press over, I think there's just a picture of them just like standing.
Yeah.
Without all the terrain.
Yeah, here we go. This picture. Yeah. Okay, so you get the Icon Bearer, which is your HQ in this box as your guy with the icon. You get 10 of the Neophytes, which are like the normal, like, I say normal,
scrubs.
but the closest thing to human that this army has. And then the hybrids, you get 5 of those. And then you get the Ridge Runner.
Yep. What's your opinion, Davis?
I think it's fine. I mean, this is a good one you could buy multiples of.
I would say you could buy 3 of these.
Yeah, you're probably going to want Ridge Runners, you're probably going to want Neophytes, and you're probably going to want hybrids. It's really as simple as that. This one just gave you a bunch of the good core units for this army. However, this army is in a rough spot. The same sort of reason as Drukhari. They kind of were an army that played on having quite a few detachments.
Yeah.
I think this is the hardest army to play.
I'd agree with that.
Genestealer Cult, if Drukhari aren't good for beginners, this is way worse.
Yeah.
This is by far like one of the hardest armies to play.
You definitely have to pay attention to what is going on.
And they have so many intricacies that their units can do, and they have a lot of tricks and traps and stuff they can do. But
as far as getting started, I'd say probably 3 to start collecting.
Yep.
And then I would say pick up this character bundle.
Yeah, this character bundle's good. The Brood Coven, because you're going to get your Patriarch, a Magus, and a Primus. You'll want the Magus. He's a Psyker. Yep. He's pretty good. And the Primus is just kind of like a captain sort of like character. And the Patriarch is just really good. He's a monster. You can only take one of him, but he's really good. You'll you won't regret that.
That's what I would say to start with them.
I really like Aberrants.
I do too.
But this army definitely seems to be more based on doing like the buggies and bikes and smaller guys.
It's like Mad Max.
Yep. Very Mad Max. The other thing,
the dirt bikes are pretty good.
Yep. We do have a Gene Stealer Cults player here, and he knows how to play it, but it is not a beginner-friendly army. If you do not know what you're doing, you're going to get wiped off the table. Because this stuff is not... None of their stuff is tanky.
No.
They don't take damage well. They're not good at soaking up firepower. It's also good to note that any of the Imperial Guard, you can take Imperial Guard units with these guys and run them as Brood Brothers. But
only certain units now.
Only certain units.
All of them, but now it's...
Only certain things. Honestly, I wouldn't recommend it. If you want to do it for flavor, go ahead. You'll have tons of fun. But I wouldn't recommend it because they don't get any of the benefits for being Gene Stealer Cult. It's just like, I guess if you really wanted to take a Lehman Russ, you can take a Lehman Russ. That's about the extent of it. It's also kind of a character-heavy army. Like, a lot of their characters provide a lot of support for the units.
You probably want to run all 3 of those characters in the Brood Coven.
Yeah, and you probably want more than... The issue, right, is like something like the Magus. You'd probably want to run multiple Maguses. Magi. But
Magi. Fun guy.
Fungus. But I think their current codex limits them to 1 per detachment of each of their heroes. So they're just in a real rough spot. They need a new codex to kind of bring them up to speed with how 9th edition is played. Yeah. The nice part about it is that they did just get a huge range refresh not that long ago. All of their kits are new, pretty much. Yeah, pretty much all their kits are new, and you're not dealing with like anything that's resin.
No, there's.
In fact, I don't think there's a resin.
There's not a resin
model in the line. So from a hobbyist standpoint, they're fine. I mean, you'll get to paint some vehicles, some weapons, and some flesh. You kind of get a good mix for hobbying here, but just from playing, you're rough. It's rough. And go with the app for your rules, because they don't have their codex yet, and with the Psychic Awakening, is coming. Yeah, I can just say, just go with the app. So, and then it looks like Harlequins is next.
After Harlequins, I think we should take Ynnari.
Yeah, we'll just
because Ynnari isn't their own army, but it is.
Yeah. So, all right. So Harlequins. Honestly, Harlequins are like
the best Eldar army.
They are right now. Right now they are. They play a lot on they're very fast and they can dish out a lot of damage. And they're honestly not. These guys can be tanky because they got a lot of invulns and they got a lot of messing with people's modifiers. They do not have any models.
No. And they're Skyweavers.
In the Star Weaver or whatever, that's the same kit. And these heroes, you can only take one of each.
Yep.
It's such
you can take multiple Shadow Seers.
Right. I know you can only take one Solitaire.
Yep, that's his whole thing. Starting out with these guys, Harlequin troops.
It's hard to even tell you you can't mess it up.
Because Harlequin troops gives you a character in that box.
It's true. The Troop Master in there, which is their leader, that is a character. And it's such a straightforward army to build because you don't have anything else.
Yeah.
Harlequins, I think you can ally in. You can ally in all the Eldar stuff with them.
But you're under the same issue with 9th edition of different detachments,
and it's not really intended to be that way.
If you want to play Harlequins with Drukhari with regular Eldar, you want to play Ynnari.
Yeah. I don't really have much to say about the Harlequins. They do their job pretty well. They're probably the best Eldar that you can play right now.
Very close combat heavy.
Very close combat heavy, and they do a lot with fusion pistols, and they do a lot of their close up damage.
I like the Harlequins.
In terms of expanding or any of that, it's
buy some vehicles.
Buy the stuff that's there because they have so few units that you can't really mess it up.
Yeah.
It's so hard to go wrong here. I don't think there's anything in here that I would tell you is no, bad, don't buy it. Maybe the Death Jester, maybe.
Death Jester's still okay. He's not terrible.
You'll buy troops. You'll buy a Shadow Seer. You'll want a Solitaire.
Yeah, because that guy hits like a truck.
He does. He is an absolute menace.
And he's fast.
Yeah. I really don't have anything else to say.
No,
they're a real simple one to get through.
There is a Harlequin model in the Imperium side of things.
That makes me so mad. The Sisters of Battle.
Did we just open a can of worms?
Yes, the Sisters of Battle, they had, was it just like a black library? I don't know why they made...
a model you can
Yeah, yep, it's a model you can just buy, I know, but I can't remember. They did it because I think there was a graphic novel that features a sister and a Harlequin who work together.
Yep.
Now, they made a model for it because it was apparently a popular story. I didn't read it, but it's only for sisters.
Yep. It's a Harlequin that you can take for sisters, but not for Harlequins.
You can't take the Harlequin in Harlequins, which is so dumb.
Yeah.
And I don't even play Harlequins, and I'm like, that is just the dumbest. The dumbest thing.
It is moderate. It is pretty upsetting.
I won't get into it a lot. I mean, that's really the extent of my issues with it. I'm like, I just think you should be able to play it in Harlequins.
Yeah.
Is really all of my issue with it. But moving on, we already did Gene Stealer, Cult, and Necrons, so Orcs.
Let's do Ynnari quick.
Oh, yeah. No, you're right. You'll do Ynnari.
The only reason we're going out of order here is because Ynnari is you take all the Eldar, mix them all together.
You soup it all together. I want to... Because it shows all of the...
This is also a not beginner army.
This is not either. None of the Eldar really are.
Harlequins, I feel like, are a little bit more forgiving.
Yep.
But Ynnari...
It's this. This is legit the only part that makes it Ynnari as compared to just some other Eldar army as you buy this.
So your start is the Triumvirate of Ynid.
And then you go into whatever direction you want to go from there.
Or whatever it is, yep.
Yeah. Ynad.
And then...
However you pronounce it.
Take what we said about
all these other factions.
Mix together.
Mix it together. It's just a giant soup. They used to be an absolute menace in 8th edition. And then they got nerfed into the ground.
They got nerfed way harder than I think they needed to.
They went from being like top of the meta to the bottom garbage tier. It was like bad. Unplayable bad. And it's a shame because like they did need a change. They didn't need to go down to the bottom.
No. But Ynnari is one of those armies, if you're playing like you have a Harlequin's army, you're like, I'm really enjoying this, but I want to start Craft World's army.
Consider maybe doing Ynnari, because you could then just play them in the same army.
Or even if you have, I have this Craft World's army now, and I have this Harlequin's army, pick up the Triumvirate, and now you have a Ynnari army.
It's a super cool model. I really love the God of Death.
Yeah.
I think that's what he is. The God of Death thing in the middle. It's a real just short aside, because it's essentially just an army that you can play that soups all of them together, that you can play them all in one army.
Elves.
Yep. Elf soup. So we only got 3 more factions. So
Orcs.
I'm very familiar with orcs.
These are your boys.
I love orcs. Orcs. These were, I think, my second army. Yeah, these were my second army.
I thought you got orcs after.
Did I get?
I thought you got orcs after Drukhari.
I think I did.
But you definitely went heavier into orcs.
Orcs. I love orcs.
What was the start collecting? Do you love this?
Yeah, I think it's not a bad place to start. So orcs are a good beginner army. Good.
Not good beginner checkbook army.
No, this is an expensive army. The start collecting is a good deal. You get a Death Dread, you get 10 boys, 5 knobs, and a Pain Boy. I guess you technically get 11 boys in the kit because the knob is... The boss knob makes it 11, and then you get the Runt Herd, I guess, for the knobs. But this is a good start. You're going to use... Maybe the only part of this I don't like as much is I kind of...
Wish that wasn't a Pain Boy.
Yeah, because this is not a... You can't even build a patrol out of it. None of this is an HQ. The Pain Boy is an elite.
Yep.
So I would have rather maybe seen like a Weird Boy, but the issue is a Weird Boy is a resin kit. Or a War Boss even, just like the classic War Boss kit would have, I think, been a little bit more fitting.
Yeah, that's what has bugged me about this, because you can never build an actual
army
list out of
you can't make a legal list out of this.
But I do think you should buy multiple of these.
Oh yeah, I mean you're probably gonna use boys, knobs. Depending on how you build your list, you might not use the knobs. But I always use the. I love the Death Dread. I love the Death Dread so much.
I do too. I know it's not good.
It's basically an Orc Dreadnought, and no, it's not that great, but it's fun. That's kind of the thing with orcs right now. They had a little bit of a spurt in 8th edition where they were really good, but
I think they're good in 9th.
they're not. Certain builds are really good.
I think the way 9th edition is played is why orcs are doing well.
Yeah, they definitely, because they go in a lot on melee.
Yep.
So like my list, I run a horde of boys. I have 90
awful.
boys.
I hate it.
You hate playing against the orcs?
I hate it.
Because
I fall into the trap of I want to bring cool vehicles, and it's just like,
these guys.
Here's 90 boys.
They're a fun army. These guys are probably like one of the most fun armies to play.
Orc players are always having fun.
You will have to like. They're a very random army.
Yeah.
Like they're probably the army, especially if you tried to build shooting orcs.
Yeah.
You're gonna have to give yourself up to randomness to really have fun.
Yeah, I'd say.
But it is just so fun to watch these guys walk across the battlefield, and they are. I think a lot of people when they first play against orcs, they're like, "It's okay, it's just some orcs." It is not just some orcs.
No, because all of a sudden that 30-man unit of orcs
has 6 attacks each,
Yeah.
and is like strength 5, and then just beat the crap out of some vehicles.
It is not okay. But I say buy 3 to start collecting.
Oh yeah, it's a good deal.
And then
The pain boy will probably.
You want something real big? Yeah, and then you definitely need to pick up an HQ.
Yeah, you get a war boss.
Yeah.
This box here with this war boss here is the one I use. I actually bought it when they were doing like the kill team commanders.
Oh, yeah.
And so I bought him when you could buy him in an individual. But this isn't a bad pickup. You get 5 more knobs, and then you get that cool war boss. I think they have another one down there that has like a big choppa. You could do that, or I know. Oh, he's probably out of stock if I have to scroll all the way down here. But from if you're just going from there, mega knobs. Mega knobs are fun.
Mega knobs are cool.
I love mega knobs. They're basically orc terminators.
I know a lot of people don't like the mega knobs.
I love my mega knobs.
I love the mega knobs. Gorkanaut.
The Gorkanaut. Yeah, that's a really good like big vehicle to pick up. The Ruckatruck Squeak Buggy.
I love and hate the buggies at the same time.
The Ruckatruck Squeak Buggy is trash.
Yeah.
Like I have one and I love it so much.
But it is
garbage.
It is the definition of random. There is no consistency out of that model.
Their flyers are pretty fun too.
Yeah.
Orcs are another army that you can't really go wrong.
Yeah.
Pretty much everything has a place, except for like some of their characters, I guess, some of their named characters and that kind of stuff. I know like right now a lot of people like running smash-a-guns, which are these. That's one of the weapons you can take on this big turret thing here, the gun platform. So a lot of people like taking those. Would recommend a big mech with custom force field.
Absolutely.
You're going to need that to get your boys to survive. Because the other thing is orc boys are going to just keel over and die.
You're going to lose models and you have to be okay with that.
Yeah, you're going to have to be okay with it. Like, even though like 90 boys sounds like a lot, but they are going to get chewed through fast.
They don't have an armor save.
They have a 6-up armor save, which you basically never get.
You might as well not have one.
You might as well not have an armor save. So,
trucks, I think, is a good place to expand on.
That's a nice little easy thing. Weird boys, okay. Weird boys are really good. You are going to want weird boys. I would not buy this model.
No, buy the Age of Sigmar one.
So yeah, Age of Sigmar for their Iron Jaws. There's a model called the Weird Knob Shaman. And it's essentially it's pretty much the same as the Weird Boy model here, in that it's an orc with a big staff that's going like wah, and it fits well enough.
Yep.
Like you look at it and you're not like, wait a minute.
Yeah.
The only
issue with the Weird Knob Shaman is he makes the war boss look tiny.
Yeah, he does. Yeah, I mean, a lot of this stuff is orcs are a really army where you kind of have to be like
really popular for a while.
Yep, you kind of just like whatever you like.
Yeah,
just buy what you like, buy what you think is cool. I love the big mech with shock attack gun, although he kind of got nerfed when they took psychic, or when they took the Vigilus books away.
Yeah,
actually, because he had like a relic gun that was really good. These buggies comes down to, do you want to play with buggies? If you do, play with the buggies.
Yep.
I love Killicans.
I also
They're
Killicans.
They're bad.
But they're so cute.
Look at them. Killican. Ooh. Ooh.
Super, eh?
I love the Killicans.
So Killicans are basically grot dreadnoughts.
Yeah, there's little grots in there, and they run around. They're just little tin cans. The Stompa?
Terrible.
It's so bad.
It's terrible. However, you love Stompy.
I love... Yeah, he's called Stompy, is my Stompa, and he walks around. He has a giant egg.
He's like your child.
He's like, hello. I take him in car rides. He sits in the passenger seat. You gotta buckle him in, otherwise you'll crash. You don't want to lose Stompy.
Yeah, you have a Stompa.
Oh, it's more that he's like... It's almost like... Stompas are meant to almost be like the knight equivalent for orcs.
And they just aren't.
And they just aren't. Because instead of having good defense, they have 40 wounds. Which sounds like it would be like a decent trade-off.
That's a 6-up save, doesn't it?
No, it is a 3-up save.
Oh, does it?
And it has a bunch of guns on it.
Yeah. That can break.
I hate this. Like, I love and hate this model at the same time. It
is
huge,
very orky.
too. And it's huge. It's a giant model. Like, ooh.
It's very orky.
It's very orky, but I would not recommend it for, like, actually playing orcs unless you really want one. Because it's just not good, and it's, like, almost 1,000 points for the model. Yeah. It's ridiculously expensive.
It is only $5 more than the other big robot boys.
The other big robot boys?
Yeah, I think they're 120.
Oh, you're talking the Gorkanaut and the Morkanaut. Yeah.
It's only $5 more.
Yeah, but the Gorkanaut and the Morkanaut are way better.
I've also heard the instructions for the Stompa are awful.
Awful, yeah. I didn't build mine. I bought mine from a friend who already had it. Gaz is great.
Yeah, he is.
A+.
Gaz
you want
feels
Gaz
like
goal.
Gaz.
Because he used to be basically a mega knob
in
his old model, but now they gave him a really good model, and he is ridiculous.
You only take, 3 wounds per phase?
4.
4 wounds?
Because he's got 12.
Yeah, yes.
So...
He's very hard to kill.
I would recommend it because you can take him in any clan. Even if you're not playing Goths, I'd still recommend him. Yep. He is just an absolute powerhouse.
Yeah.
That's really all I have to say on orcs. They're a really good beginner army because, like, you will get punished, but you're just gonna have so much fun playing them.
Yeah, I've never seen an orc player not have fun.
They're super fun. You will never, you're always gonna have fun playing orcs. Same sort of deal. Use the app for their rules.
Yeah.
And this is purely an army where there's stuff that is competitive, but
who cares?
Run what you think is super cool.
Yeah.
What's next? Tyranids or Tau? Actually,
Tau.
It's Tau.
Tau.
All right, cool. This is gonna be short.
Tau have my favorite model in
really?
40K. Yep. And I don't own one.
I hate Tau.
The Tau have my favorite model.
Well, let's look at their start collecting too.
Collecting.
Okay.
Mwah.
Okay. Here's Tau.
Buy the start collecting 87 times.
All right, we're done with Tau. No,
but absolutely buy the start collecting multiple times. That's because you're gonna get the crisis suits. You're gonna get your fire warriors.
You get an ethereal. I hear ethereals aren't terrible.
Yeah, they're not great. You don't buy it for the ethereal. You buy it because
you're going to use fire warriors.
You're basically paying for the crisis suits.
Yep. Yeah. I don't think it's a bad box, and truth be told, I don't know that much about Tau. I don't play Tau.
I don't play Tau. We don't have a lot. We have one Tau player.
Kyle.
Yeah.
Kyle plays Tau.
We have a Tau. One
of the players here has Tau, but he doesn't play 40K that often.
Oh yeah.
But Tau are just like, they were super good, and now they're kind of
I think they're okay.
They're okay. Some people think they're like unplayable bad, and I don't think they're quite that bad.
I don't think they're quite that bad, no. But yeah, because this start collecting is 95.
Yep.
And
you're getting a good deal. It's one of those things of like the Gundam, the like weird Japan Gundam aesthetic is just not something I really enjoy.
You're paying for the suits, and you're paying $20 for Fire Warriors.
Or your ethereal, however you want to
yeah.
look at it. Yeah. It's just one of those things where, like, I don't like the aesthetic that the Tau have, really. And it's just one of those... I'm not super... It just doesn't super jazz me, and I'm like, eh.
Yeah, that's fair. This is my favorite model that GW makes. Right here. Look at him. I love this model.
Tower and Army, where I think a lot of people had them, and then they sold them off.
Don't come at me like that, Davis. I used to have a small Tau Army.
Oh, did you?
Yep.
I didn't even know that.
I had a Start Collecting and a bunch of Fire Warriors.
Did you have that?
No, I did not. I've never owned this model, and it is my favorite model.
I mean, if you like it, it's just... I also really enjoy melee, and they do zero melee.
No melee.
Do not do melee.
They're like...
Do not pass go.
Like...
Do not pass go. Do not collect $200.
They definitely skip lifting weights. Like...
Yeah, they don't do melee. There's like one unit that has a melee weapon. Commander Farsight has like that demon blade.
Crew aren't bad in melee. But that's not really Tau, is it?
Tau are such a weird arm. They're like all... This is the epitome of a gun army. Yeah, they do all shooting.
Yep.
And their guns are good. A lot of people I've kind of met don't like Tau because their playstyle really makes it so that you shoot and stay out of melee. Like, they just have a lot of tools to make sure that they are shooting at you and that you are never getting into melee so that they can't shoot at you.
Yeah.
So...
they did get a little bit of a nerf from 9th to 8th.
Well, they did get to keep their Overwatch.
They did, but you still have to pay for it.
Yep, you still have to pay a CP.
But
they can do it in as many times as they want, can't they?
Yep. But they used to just... If you say you charged a unit of Fire Warriors here, and there was a Riptide here, Riptide here, Riptide here...
Yeah,
those
Riptides all get to
Overwatch
it. It was gross. It was so gross. And I just... I don't know. They don't... They're just not my thing.
They don't tickle your fancy.
They don't tickle my fancy, so I don't know... I just don't know enough about them even to really give like a recommendation as to where to go.
For me, it is buy 3 of the Start Collectings.
Yeah.
Because
I mean, it doesn't seem like a terrible deal. You want Crisis Suits
and
Fire Warriors.
Fire Warrior Squad is normally $50.
Yeah.
So you're getting $30 discount.
And you get an Ethereal.
Yeah. You only need one.
That's like my favorite model from the line is the Ethereal.
I'm just like, yeah, garbage. Throw it away.
I guess the broadsides are cool. I think the broadside suits are really fun.
I like with the big rail. I like the
rail cannon.
Specifically the rail cannon one I like. I do not like the rocket pod one.
Where it's like his fists?
Yeah. Yeah. Let's see here. Yeah, this guy.
I love the railgun.
Yeah, he has a variant where he has little...
rocket pods?
Little rocket pods.
But they are his fists. And it looks so stupid.
I hate it.
I think that's pretty much it for Tau.
3 Star Collectings plus, if you want some of the bigger suits...
Buy some of the bigger suits. They really come... It's like the same sort of thing. And then our last...
Tyrannus.
Tyrannus
merch.
Which, it's kind of an inside joke we have here. Tyranids... kind of in a rough spot.
Yep, I do not like the Start Collecting.
You don't like it?
No.
Well, yeah, that kind of makes sense. I think
you buy...
Tyranids are a fun beginner army, too.
Yep.
They're gonna... You get to play with a lot of big creatures, and you get to play with all these cool bugs and stuff. This Start Collecting is a little rough, because it's like... You're never if you like Gene Stealers, buy it. If you don't like Gene Stealers... don't.
Yeah.
It really comes down to that.
I mean, you're never going to run more than one Broodlord.
Probably not.
Especially when the new codex...
If you're going to buy one,
when the new codex comes out and says you can only run one Broodlord per attachment...
Right. But who knows? By then they might have a different combat patrol.
Yeah.
So, I think it just comes down to if you like what you see, play it. If you're going to do Start Collecting, I'd only recommend buying one.
Yep.
Buy one, you get your Trigon, you get your Gene Stealers... Broodlord, and then just kind of fill out your Gene Stealers.
If you're going Gene Stealers.
If you're doing Gene Stealers. Or then buy your Hormigons or your Termagants.
Yeah. If you're going to go Hormigons, just buy your Termagants.
I can recommend Exocrines. And Zoanthropes. I know Zoanthropes are really, really good. But yeah, let me see. He's probably out of stock because... no, he's not. He's not. The Exocrine.
Oh, yeah, he's super good.
This is like legit their best model in the army. The Exocrine is super good.
I think Tyrannofex is up there.
I really like the Tyrannofex. Some people I've heard kind of hit or miss on him. If I was going to build this army, I really do like Tyranids, but if I was going to build it, I would want to play like with all monsters, pretty much.
Nidzilla.
Yep.
Yeah,
I'd like to play with Carnifexes and Broodlords.
Carnifexes are a
Brood, right, or the Broodlords, or like the Hive Tyrants. I love the Hive Tyrants. That's also a good, like, if you were going to expand from the start collecting, a Hive Tyrant is not a bad place to go. The Carnifexes are traps.
Same boat as you, I love the Carnifex.
I know Hive Guard are really good too right now. But
it's a trap. There are a lot of points. They don't do a lot.
They're just beat sticks.
Yeah, they are just literal
giant meatballs that run around the table and munch on things every once in a while.
Yeah, it's...
This army just kind of has an issue with... they don't have, like, any invulnerable saves.
Nope.
And they were just really... They're kind of fragile, even though they're big beasties.
Yeah.
Because none of them have invulns, and they all...
Swarmlord has an invuln, but
and the Hive Tyrant does, too. And Gene Stealers do.
Yeah.
Zoanthropes do. That's what makes Zoanthropes really good, is they have a 3-up invuln,
yeah.
which is really
almost
nasty.
unheard of now in this edition.
Yep.
I like Tyranids a lot, but for me, you want to buy... I'm the same boat as you. I want to play Nidzilla. I want to play big monsters. So I'm like 3 boxes of Hormagaunts or Termagants, and then Carnifex Brood.
Yep. That's just kind of how it is.
Yeah. I know the way to run them is a million gaunts.
Yeah, right now the best way, if you're trying to play them competitively, it's a million bodies, just as many bodies as you can put on the table. But
yep.
If you're trying to run them fun, again, build what you want. They're in a rough spot because they're just...
A lot of their models aren't terrible, though. I don't think they don't have a lot of resin. I think
they don't have a lot of resin.
Or...
They have a few characters that are resin, but they have mostly plastic. Although I wish they would get some new models. They haven't gotten a new model in a long time.
Since like Swarmlord and the Broodlord.
So that's really all I have to say.
Yeah,
on it.
I'm not. The issue is neither of us are super familiar with a lot of the Xenos armies.
Yeah, we've got quite a few Tyranids players here.
Yeah,
but we don't know a whole lot about them.
Yeah.
I think that's it. That's the last Xenos faction.
Yeah, we did.
Do you got any closing thoughts for us, Mike?
Just same as always. Support where you play.
Yeah, support where you play. And once again, thanks to Turbulent Games for giving us this space to do this podcast out of. We really hope to make sure to keep this at a once a week type deal. We hope to see you back here on Friday of next week, where we're gonna finish this series out, and we're going to do. We had a question.
We did a while ago. Anyways, back to this question, Celtic Wolf, if you're still here for Necrons. I say Immortals. I think the Death Marks to me feel kind of like a trap.
Yeah, they definitely feel a little underwhelming. They're meant to like snipe characters, but I don't think their sniper rifles are really good enough to snipe characters.
If you want character sniper, I think the Hexmark Destroyer is better. You'll disagree, but
I don't like him. I'm angry. But I would go with Immortals. If you're still here, if you're still watching, I would recommend Immortals.
Apologize for missing your...
Yeah. We'll have to come up with a better solution so that we see those questions a bit earlier. But if you're still here, I'd go with Immortals. But yeah, so thanks again to Turbulent Games for letting us use the space, for letting us bring this to you. We'll try to be here next week. Same time, same place. And we're going to finish this out. We're going to try and do Chaos.
In one episode.
Which we should be able to get that done.
We're pretty knowledgeable about Chaos.
Yeah, so. we know quite a bit about Chaos. So that should go pretty well. But, I think that's about it from what we got here. I hope you guys all have a good night from whatever part of the world you're watching. And, have a good night.
Take care, everyone. Peace.